A key day for proposed laws at the state capitol. It's known as Suspense Day. It's one of the most pivotal yet secretive days at the state capitol.
That's right. Hundreds of bills quickly pass or die in a committee without discussion. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joins us live from the Capitol to explain what it is and what isn't moving forward. Ashley?
Yeah, Lisa and Ty, Suspense Day is one of the biggest hurdles bills face here at the state capitol. The proposed laws assessed today all have pretty significant price tags to you, the taxpayer. Now, the powerful appropriations committees in the Senate and Assembly today churned through a combined total of 1,010 bills. So let's break down the numbers and let's break down some of these bills. Now, the Assembly's Appropriations Committee passed about 65% of its bills, while the Senate Committee passed 75% of its bills. Here's a look at a few that are moving forward. First, ACA 16 is a proposed state constitutional amendment to add the right to clean air, water, and the environment. SB 1414 would ramp up penalties for the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. This passed in the State Senate Appropriations Committee unanimously. And SB 1116, which would allow striking workers to get unemployment benefits. Now, a lot of high-profile measures actually died today in these committees. That includes a bill that would have regulated access to some psychedelic drugs in California. Another aimed to crack down on Ticketmaster's dominance in the entertainment industry. And another that would limit when employers can contact their workers outside of work hours. This is known as the right to disconnect. The leader of the Assembly's Appropriations Committee, Buffy Wicks, said tough decisions were necessary today as California faces a budget year that will require tightened spending.
And I think it's no secret where the budget is today. You know, we have an obligation to balance the budget here in California. We can't go into debt, so we have to be very judicious with the budget. I mean, there were bills that I have been big supporters of in years past, that it's just a challenging budget time. And so we needed to be responsible with taxpayers' money. So that's why we had to make some tough calls today.
That budget situation Assemblymember Wicks is referring to is the $27.6 billion shortfall the state is facing this year. This is just one of several tough decisions the legislature is expected to make as the state is expected to be strapped for cash this year.
Okay, so Ashley, what happens to the bills that are moving forward?
So the bills that passed out of the Assembly Appropriations Committee are heading to the Assembly floor, and those that passed out of the Senate Appropriations Committee are heading to the Senate floor. So this really marks the halfway point in the legislative process. There is another Suspense Day that will happen later this summer.
All right, thanks for keeping track of all of that for us. Ashley Zavala reporting live from the Capitol. Thank you.